Hi, uh, I'm Janice Graham, licensed marriage family therapist, and I'm here with Liz Burke, and we're going to share some of our experiences, understanding, and processes around codependency. And I hope you enjoy it. Do you want to share about something about you?
Um, sure. I'm, as Jenna said, Liz Berg, and um, I have been working with Janice for a number of years and um, exploring codependency through that time. And yeah, just glad to be here.
Yeah, and so just a little bit about my process. I have been experiencing the impact and effects of codependency throughout my life and recognized uh, through a series of um, processes, learning, experiences, reflection about how it really impacts me and how it impacted my life and hindered many, many facets of my life.
Mhm.
So I obviously have this is just one of the things I do. I work with individuals and other groups to help them understand their journey so they can be free and find a long lasting um, freedom and experience of mental health from
Mhm.
codependency.
Mhm. Um, for me, in hindsight, I see that I've been codependent my whole life. But the first time I ever heard about that was when I was in my mid 20s. And I don't even know if I've ever told you this, but my therapist at that time um, told me to go read Codependency No More, because I was like struggling in a relationship and I was just so unhappy and it was profoundly codependent. Um, and um, yeah, so at that time, it was the first time that I had gotten sober. So I'm in recovery, and I was in recovery, or sober, I should say, in my 20s. And um, but that was the key that was missing, right? So my
Mm.
depression and my all of the other things that are disordered, or were anyway, were still there. And it hadn't been addressed. So it was a very difficult period of time for me. But it wasn't until just about 5.5 years ago that I really started working in earnest on this issue in my own life.
Yeah, and just to understand, because everybody has a different perspective on codependency, and going back to the premise that I work under and with is that it's a lack of self. It's
Mhm.
the wounded part of us that never was healed or never
Mhm.
developed.
Mhm.
And the process that we're going to go through, and that I really want each of us to do, is learn how to have self love, meet our own needs, understand what our needs are.
Mhm.
Uh, the the core and the crux is not knowing what we need and looking outward
Mhm.
to grab hold of anything and everything we can
Mhm.
to make us feel better, because the longing in us is insatiable, and until we learn how to go inward and um, process and know our needs, soothe ourselves, comfort ourselves, and love ourselves, that's the only way we'll ever satiate that longing that's pervasive.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm not really sure what to say now.
No, but that's okay.
Uh,
It's like, what do you do as a practice? How do you um, every day incorporate it? What you've
mhm.
learned? What are some of the ways that you practice it
Mhm.
and implement it and remind yourself to stay on the path?
Mhm. Mhm. Um, I feel like over time I've accumulated a number of practices that are just like part of my life now.
Mhm.
Um, so I would say a mindfulness around um, uh, how I feel. I think that's ongoing. That's something that I do practice actively every day, and trying to stay in touch with that because when I do, when I can actually answer like how I feel, I know I'm connected to myself. Um, and I remember a time, a long time, where I couldn't tell you what my feelings were. And that was when I was really in the depths of that. So part of the recovery was learning to identify feelings. And it's still something that
Mhm.
I revisit because it's not linear. It's not like I'm just cured, of
I
anything.
wish.
I know, but I would say that is one of the most important ones. But just practicing being present and being connected to my feelings, really essentially like connecting to myself. And so partly I do that through a daily meditation. I don't always have an hour to sit for meditation, but good 12 minutes will do it. um, but at least it gets me grounded and in my body. So I guess that's another one, being in my body
Yes,
to be able to
yes.
recognize my feelings. And again, for a long time, I wasn't able to do that, to be present in my body. Um, there's so
This
many.
Yeah, but that's a good beginning, and that's a good example of
Mhm.
how this process is not a destination, but
Yeah.
it is a process and a path.
Mhm.
And my own personal experience is using pause. I take a pause all day long throughout my day, which is my
Mhm.
meditation and my connection to myself. I learned to regulate myself through the pause. I learned to check into my feelings with the pause. Um, it has been, without question, the most important thing I do, which is pause,
Mhm.
because it allows me to feel, to know what's going on, to check in with myself throughout the day instead of just
Mhm.
in the morning and at night.
Mhm.
And as Liz was saying, the feelings are the most important thing, which is part of this internal mechanism, which includes
Mhm.
our knowing, our spirit,
Mhm.
our feelings, our sensations, and that's the the roadmap. That's our protection and safety and security, is this inner process
Mhm.
that we avoid and have not learned to honor
Mhm.
and practice doing it.
Mhm.
And that's probably the core of this, is how do you heal the original wound, which is the beginning of codependency, is through self-love, the path, and that word is used a lot. But there's some simple practices for self-love, which is
Mhm.
pausing and just giving yourself what you need at the moment. That's an act of self-love. The little acts
Mhm.
that actually create self-love, it's not a big concept that you just learn. Every day you have to choose yourself, what your
Mhm.
needs are, knowing who you are,
Mhm.
what serves you.
Mhm.
So those are some of the things that we will continue to explore in this ongoing Thursday night group.
Mhm.
What do you think?
Well, there was just so much you just covered.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking as you were saying all of those different things, like, the whole idea of, oh, well, love yourself. You got to love yourself.
Right.
It is used a lot,
Yes.
but it's a very, it's more than just one thing.
Yes.
It's so many things.
It
It's like
is.
not going against that knowing that you
Yes.
have, your intuition.
Yes.
It's being able to recognize it and honor it, to making sure you're taking care of yourself first,
Always.
and really. taking responsibility for that, right? For
Right.
yourself.
And self-love is simply feeding yourself when you need to eat. It's
Yeah.
that simple, or
Yeah.
drinking water, or
Mhm.
taking a walk,
Mhm.
or taking a pause, taking a break when you're
Mhm.
tired,
Mhm.
sleeping. I mean, it goes on and on. Those are all acts of self-love. They're not necessarily overwhelming big things.
Mhm.
They're all the small things that are
Yes.
loving to ourselves, you know? That's an
Yes.
act. An action is loving
Mhm.
yourself
Mhm.
instead of just love yourself, which
Mhm.
is a big concept.
Yeah, and kind of vague.
It is.
Yeah.
It's too big.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, but this is just an example. I just wanted to share this with you guys, and I was thankful that Liz was willing to come in and visit today. We will be having other live um, chats with different people, and hopefully get you a little more understanding of what the result is as you do the work.
Mhm.
So I hope you find this interesting enough and come back on Thursday.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you. That is good.